Hi, I'm Hardy Lipscomb with Paul Dippell here at the Cisco Powered Marketing Summit in beautiful Monterey, California. Paul just completed a summit, a workshop for us, where we talked about the premise-based managed services and how more service providers are entering premise-based managed services, taking services beyond the traditional demarc of a router and going in and offering more in-depth services. Paul, tell us a little bit more about the market dynamics you see in premise-based managed services.
Sure, Hardy, thanks. You know, it's a really interesting market today because the service providers are looking to get more and more into the premise-based managed services and really extend the reach of the services that they offer. And with voice over IP, that seems to be a way in that looks to be working very, very well. The most interesting thing about today was that the service providers were very interested in different go-to-market strategies, such as going directly to market or working through a channel where the channel could co-brand or white label the services. So looks like a lot of different opportunities to get in the marketplace, Hardy, and it's an exciting day.
Perfect. Well, let me ask this, Paul. This seems to be an elusive market, right? A lot of players want to get into premise-based managed services, especially in the small and medium business space, but they can't seem to do it in a way that's profitable for them and mitigates risk in the right way. What are the keys to success? What must a managed service provider do to effectively and profitably seize this market opportunity?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think there's a couple of rules of thumb that need to be adhered to in order to have the best results in this market. One is simplicity. For those small business customers that want premise-based managed services, I think it's very important for you to keep the services simple and also to keep the customer technology footprint simple. If you try and do too complex of services or cover too many different types of technology, it becomes hard to make money and hard to scale. The other thing is to learn to qualify quickly to find out what types of small business customers are the ones that really want managed services, so you're spending time where you can get bang for the buck and they can get value from the offering.
Perfect. And let me ask one final question, and that has to do with a managed service provider. Where do they place their investment? We've heard a lot of different stories about managed security, managed voice, other services, managed applications. Software as a service seems to be very hot these days. If you were advising a managed service provider where to make an investment, where would you tell them to focus?
Yeah, it's a great question, Hardy. I think where they should focus is where they're the strongest on the project services side, on the professional services side. So if you have a specialty in a particular type of solution that you're used to doing the assessment, design, and implementation for, then focusing on that area for managed services makes great sense. If you're a service provider and you're providing today managed services within the IP stack to the demarc, so to speak, or to the ISR, then you want to see if you can extend those services typically with a collateral service like voice over IP, hosted VoIP, and so forth. So you want to stick close to home and what you know how to talk about, and then layer on the managed services.
Okay, now is it fair for me to ask one more question? Just one more question. That question is, why is now the right time for managed services? What has come together? What has changed in the market to really make this the time for managed services?
Well, that's a great question, Hardy, and I think there's a couple of things at play here. One of them is, of course, the predominance of voice over IP, and the service provider community with managed services now has the opportunity to close the entire loop, to go right from the central office, if you will, out to the desktop and back, and guarantee that quality of service for the VoIP services that they're providing, and that's a wonderful development. I think the second thing is, through manufacturers like Cisco, the tools that are being provided today are better than ever to allow a service provider to be able to provide managed services economically. And that's a new development that Cisco is at the forefront of.
Great. Well, great insights, and thank you once again, Paul. This is Hardy Lipscomb and Paul Dippell live from the Cisco Powered Marketing Summit. Have a great day.
Thanks.